Hello, folks. Welcome to Polls 2024 with me, Seema Mustafa, and as journalists see it. We will take you to some of the key states to speak with journalists in those states during these elections. And today we are starting with Uttar Pradesh. What else? And we have two very senior journalists with us, Shahira Naim and Sharat Pradhan, both with decades of experience who have covered elections, who've been in different newspapers, and I think Sharat has also been with television. And well, welcome both of you. And I'm so glad you're giving us some of your time in these days.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah. So, UP, I mean, we just to sort of recount some of the figures. In 2009, the BJP, the Bharatiya Janata Party, had just 10 seats. And in 2014, when they came to power in India, they had 71 seats in UP. And now in 2019, as good, 62 seats, a few less maybe.
Yeah.
And the Bahujan Samaj Party had 10, the Samajwadi Party had 5, and the Rashtriya Lok Dal had 0. They were in one block, and the Congress was fighting, I think, on its own. The last election, the last general election, got 1 seat. So Shahira, let's start with you. What do you think is happening this time? Because this time there is a bit of a change. The Rashtriya Lok Dal has gone to, Jant Chri has gone back to the BJP. And the Congress and the Samajwadi are fighting the elections together. And BSP, you tell us. So what do you think is going to be happening this?
Well, this time the scenario is very different. Jayant has gone back to the BJP.
Yeah.
But he has got only 2 seats. He has been given 2 seats, while when he was with Akhilesh, he was getting 7. In fact, Akhilesh joked that I have to do my maths again. When has 2 become more than 7? He said that. But what Jayant is finding difficult is to explain, because he had not only changed his ideology after, from for the 2017 onwards, and try to in a way make amends for the Muzaffarnagar riots, and how the Jats and Muslims had separated, while for generations they had been together. So he went on explaining of how it was a blunder, and we have to work together, and we have brotherhood, and then his support for the sugarcane farmers, that came out very strongly before the 2017 and 22 elections. So he has basically been lobbying for ideological shift from his BJP days. So his sudden turnaround is something very difficult even for the most devoted Jat supporters to take, because even as late as 2022 he had said, I'm not a Chavanni, I can't flip like that, and now he has flipped. He's trying very hard to explain that it was not a flip, and it was a kushti ka some party or something. But in his meetings, it comes across that he's trying to explain things, and he's trying to make it sound as if it was for the region. Development will come for the region, and it will do good for the Jats. And he's trying to even say things like, you people don't realize Bharat Ratna is such a big thing which has come to us, and we had to show some kind of gratitude. So it seems that he is all, back foot kind of a thing. And the reports that I'm getting is that it has not done him any good. It's virtually the end of the road for him. बहुत मुश्किल है उनका जीतना, and even if he is accommodated in the central ministry, if BJP comes back to power, politically he has not gained anything, and the Jats are pretty upset. In fact, in Muzaffarnagar, as I know, they had a panchayat where they said that they will not vote for the party which has harmed the interest of the farmers. So let's see how it goes.
What do you make of it, Sharat? How do you see the situation? How is it poised today with all these?
Well, as far as Jayant Chaudhary is concerned, I think he got roped in by the BJP on particularly because of this Bharat Ratna given to Chaudhary Charan Singh, his grandfather. which sounds, because he was, I think there was a bit of a problem on the Akhilesh side as well. They were taking too much time. And the BJP, the way it pesters everybody, whether it is wherever it needs, it uses the ED and CBI to rope in people that's the kind of strategy they do. And in case of Jayant Chaudhary, they were desperate, while the India bloc was not able to take a call on that. And there was reason. I feel that Akhilesh and Congress did not make enough effort to keep him on board. Because, there was no, now that he's drawing a lot of flack, there is no doubt about it. The Jat community is angry with him because, this, how BJP moved heaven and earth to oppose the agitation, the demonstrations by the farmers, who are all Jats.
Right.
So now, as of today, Jats stand divided in Western UP, and which is a good sign for the India alliance.
Okay.
Because if they had gone en bloc with the BJP, it would have been a bit of a problem, and that is what Modi was expecting when he roped in Jayant Chaudhary. So I don't think they are going to get the desired results, and I think BJP has already started feeling that, and that is the reason Jayant is not having a free hand in the in NDA.
Yeah, and he's very quiet now. Like you can barely hear from him after.
Yeah.
What about the BSP, Sharat? You want to tell us a little bit about whether?
Well, that's the most interesting part, Seema, because BSP. I mean, I was always convinced that she is the easiest one to trap for the BJP, and they succeeded it because her priorities over the past few years have been on not on Dalits anymore, but on Daulat of Mayavati, which is how the BSP insiders describe.
Yeah.
And that's the reason she has fallen completely in line with BJP. And she makes, I mean, apparently you can see it, it's so visible because over the past 2-3 years, her statements, she's been thriving only on her, whatever she's thriving a little bit, is only on her statements, press releases, and tweets.
Absolutely.
So otherwise, she was not seen, she was not visible on the ground. And you can't run a party like this. I think she decided to choose, when she had to choose between her Daulat and the Dalit community, whom Kashiram had built as a huge force. And this was a party which could have, and Mayavati could have been the undisputed Dalit leader of the country, like some in the frame of Jagjeevan Ram or someone.
Yeah.
But I think she decided to choose for her Daulat. Otherwise, she has had the CBI sword hanging over her neck for a long time. The investigation was started during the UPA days, and there's no doubt that all political parties have tons of black money, and so does Mayavati. Mayavati was a little too blatant. Others were, I think, are more discreet, and so that is why everybody knew that the kind of wealth, the disproportionate assets case was still hanging against her. And it is, I think, systematically kept to be, they don't take a final decision on it. Yeah. Because whenever they want to use it, and that's what is happening today. And, the way Modi uses an understatement, abuses the agencies, the enforcement agencies is no secret. And that's what he did in this case. And I'm told that she was, somebody went to her and told her that she has to choose either between going behind bars or enjoying life. So I think obviously she chose to opt for the latter, and which is why the party is completely down and out. Most of her people have deserted her. In 2019, when she got 10 seats, the simple reason was she fooled Akhilesh Yadav into an alliance. Fooled, I'm saying, because her objective, which was later on exposed, and she talked about it, that her whole idea was to teach Akhilesh a lesson for the sins of his father. Sins, I would say, because you remember that incident. There was this infamous guest house incident in Lucknow where Mayavati was attacked way back in 1995, when the Samajwadi Party goons attacked her in the guest house. and which is what made her the heroine, the chief minister of UP ultimately. And her whole idea was to extract whatever she could out of this alliance with the Samajwadi Party, and then give Samajwadi Party a kick, which she did. You know, she managed to get 10 seats simply because while Akhilesh Yadav was sincere and hoping, and even Mulayam was alive at that time, and they both thought they got fooled into this alliance, and they thought that Benji was being very good to them, and that at the bygones be bygones types. But she ensured that her party's vote did not transfer to the Samajwadi Party, while the Samajwadi Party vote went en bloc, and that's the reason she got 10 seats from 0, and Akhilesh Yadav came down from 10 to 5. So, but most of those 10 people have already deserted her, because seeing the way she is going with the falling in line with the BJP. So eventually today Mayavati is a non-political entity.
Right. So she'll probably get 0 seats, or like very, very single digit, if at all, right?
But there's one thing, Seema, there's something very interesting, which I think your
She'll be a
viewers also
spoiler.
know.
Yeah.
She has, besides being seen as a political player, she has other objectives also, and for which, again, the BSP doesn't make any bones about it. Their idea is that's one of the parties which started this practice of auctioning party tickets. So there is still this element of raising party funds through the election process by putting out tickets on. Of course, the market is not quite down for her, so I'm sure she's not getting the kind of money she would get for every seat earlier. But that is certainly the objective, and I think, in UP with 80 seats, even if the market is down, you can very easily mop up 1 crore for every Lok Sabha seat.
You can mop up the Daulat factor. Shahira, what about this time about Samajwadi Party? Do a little quick analysis, because he's got together Akhilesh Yadav with the Congress, and he has contested the election, the two of them together, and they didn't do very well in the past. Do you think that this is a good move? And is Akhilesh Yadav also, while not really delivering, in the sense one doesn't see him traveling, one doesn't see him in control of the situation? So is the Samajwadi organization, has it suffered because of this?
I feel the alliance ideologically it's on sound groundings, because they have a lot of common things. But that is not all for any alliance. It is coming too slowly. A lot of things could have happened weeks or even months ago. Sharing seats and candidates and all. And what is the most important for any election, now that we've been following BJP for so many elections, is the booth management. On the final day, even if आप हवा बांध लेते हैं, सब कुछ कर लेते हैं, but if you can't bring your voters to the booth, and if you don't have people over there, it doesn't work. And this has happened repeatedly with Congress. It has happened all the time. Samajwadi was still Samajwadi was still a little better. I remember it was when was Rita Bahuguna? In 2014, she was in Lucknow. Rita Bahuguna, Congress candidate, Sharat.
Yeah.
And against Rajnath Singh, she ran such an excellent campaign. She worked very hard, and she did not leave any in the effort on her part. While Rajnath Singh was nowhere in the picture, he was not visible. He didn't virtually run a campaign. But on the day of election, when I went to vote and when I moved around in the city, I was sure that BJP is going to win. Every voter they take to the booth, either through cars, through even in their arms they take disabled voter. They ensure
absolutely.
तो ultimately तो वही matter करता ना कि you manage to get the votes. वो वाला जो last जो bit है, उस पे every party is weak. Every party. BSP used to be a little better because they had a lot of cadre. They were slightly better, but now they're not even fighting.
But there was a time when the Samajwadi was also fairly good in booth management.
Yes.
Fairly good. But
Yeah.
this time the Samajwadi Party is, I can say, it's not visible. He is too laid back. You don't fight election over tweet and Twitters and press releases. You have to be seen on the ground. What he did in 2012 and managed to get the votes. He never repeated it again. Even in 2022, it was a winning battle, which वो सिर्फ effort की कमी की वजह से गया.
Yes, right.
मतलब he started only 5 months early. 5 months क्या मतलब from 2000, who was stopping him from working from 2017 onwards? He did not work. Working for an election and just sending tweets is two different things. When you don't have resources, you at least have a bicycle. You move around the way you did in 2012 and go from village to village and campaign. That brings far more votes than being active on the social media. So that Akhilesh has to understand. He still has a team, but the
Okay.
team is looking up for directions, which is not coming. And the opposition is playing all sorts of games, trying to show that there's confusion at the top, and they can't decide on this. The Shipal is trying to push his son, and ये छोटी छोटी बातें जो है ना, headline management they know, so they are creating all that kind of confusion in the newspapers and in the media, and then people wonder. And in any case, this is a national election, so they wonder
Yeah.
कि अखिलेश जीतेगा भी तो क्या होगा, वोट हमारा जाएगा, उससे अच्छा बीजेपी को दे दें. So they should have, the Congress is going to be the national party and they are going to support. ये वाली बात जो है ना, has to be reiterated day in day out to drill the fact into people's mind that the vote is not going to be wasted, even if it's a national election. Voting for a regional party, because ultimately Samajwadi is going to get 63 seats. Congress is only on 17. और उसमें 63 में कुछ उनके और भी कुछ शायद पार्टनर्स आएंगे. तो ये बात जो है ना, लोगों को have to realize कि it is a national election, but there is one party in the alliance which is a national party, and so they are voting for a national party, whether it's a Samajwadi candidate or not. They are voting for a national alliance, India bloc. This, I think, when I'm talking to people, it is not, this perception is still not there, and to the advantage of BJP. The second thing what I fear is the BSP again will be a three-cornered contest. BSP is not leaving any seat uncontested for the reasons which Sharat just explained. So that is also going to create some kind of confusion. In a three-cornered thing, a spoiler is there. She will be playing the spoiler kind of role. So and her thing is like what
Largely
she did
because of the Muslim vote.
Yeah.
Muslim votes. When 100 seats she gave to Muslims, 100 seats. Can you imagine? And so much, so in so many of these seats, if the BSP would have not given a Muslim candidate, वो आराम से the Samajwadi already were winning. But just because it got, divided.
Yeah, she managed to get it. Yeah. So
Yeah,
there is so Shahira has raised all these also important points like you did about the BSP, but about the general election, basically the delay in this alliance coming together, the absence of Samajwadi from the field, like you said, the absence of the BSP, but then she only wants to be a spoiler, whereas we presume that Akhilesh Yadav wants to win, but he's still not there. And then the inability of the organization to mop up the votes. So
yes.
all very, very strong, indicators and a problem for the India Alliance. But Sharat, what about the Congress? I mean, the Congress from one seat, it hasn't been able to build an organization somehow in UP for years now. It is trying, but it doesn't have one, right?
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. You know that the tragedy of the Congress is that they have not been able to rise to the occasion. There is not an iota of effort that you can see over the past several years, I would say, but particularly in the last 1 year, since they keep the only thing they do is they keep changing their state president.
Yeah.
They don't like somebody's face, the fellow
since
goes
the
out,
assembly elections,
somebody else is
Sharat,
brought in. And but the fellow does nothing. Everyone, the Rita Bahuguna was the only one who actually did lots of work on ground. But for whatever reason, she made an exit from the Congress essentially because of being neglected by the leadership. So Congress is suffering from an acute crisis of leadership. And even today, when they appointed this fellow Ajay Rai, who's now the candidate against Narendra Modi in Varanasi, I don't know how he's going to run the show. And I could see it. I went to the Congress office here, headquarters, which always used to buzz with activity sometime, once upon a time. This I'm talking last month. And all the rooms in their office were locked.
My God.
It was shocking because this thing, it is just crazy. And nobody seems to. I rang up their party spokesman. I said, what the hell is happening here? Except for the Babus and some PMs there was nobody there. Everybody's room was locked. He said, oh, people must have gone out for the elections. I said, now don't start joking. I'm serious. So then the fellow came, and it was difficult to even take a picture. I was writing something and I needed a picture of the party office. That's the trouble. And for that, I would blame the brother and sister, particularly it's the sister, because Priyanka made a lot of tall promises about camping in Lucknow and getting the party back on its rails.
They're not organization people. They're not able to build an organization. No?
If you make an effort, you could have. And Priyanka at that point of time was showing a lot of promise. In the last election, she had really come down to ground. But the only trouble is she's too erratic. And I told her in as many words, the opposition seems to be right in calling you a political tourist. She said, no, you see that very soon I'm going to come back. I'm just going to US to drop my daughter and I'm coming back. And then I'll just stay put here and organize the party. But nothing. And even this fellow now, Ajay Rai, who's the state president, ever since he's become, he's hardly visible. You can't run a party by just off and on coming, zooming in and zooming out.
Yeah.
There was another fellow, Ajay Kumar Lallu, who was actually a man of the grassroots. But he had no support from the leadership. They made him president, all right. He remained president for almost 2 years. But when Yogi Adityanath put him in jail for what? For saying lies. This is how they described it. He had when they were bringing in people during the COVID crisis, the Congress said we'll send 1,000 buses to transport UP walas from other states here. So this guy said, you give us the names of the buses that you are sending. So the names of registration numbers they wanted. Yogi wanted to trap them. So when they sent the names, they discovered that some of those numbers happen to be that of 3-wheelers or 2-wheelers. So for that, can you imagine? For that, this was called lies. And that state president of the Congress was booked and put behind bars. And for 4 months, there was nobody could get him a bail, with all the Congress legal luminaries sitting in Delhi. So if that is the state of the party in this, how can you expect any results from a party where even the state president goes behind bars and there's nobody to bail him out?
So So Shahira, do you get the feeling that the Congress is now, in a way, when they're making their plans and they're looking at the states and wanting to become the government, or India wants to form the government, they're sort of given up on UP? Or do you think there is a fight now?
No, till 22, I still felt that there's some kind of effort. It's erratic at times, but from 22 onwards, where after Priyanka was here and she could not inspire her, after that, there has been no effort. For a long time, they didn't have any president. Then they had various presidents come in and leave, who had made no contact, like even calling a normal press conference. Or there always used to be a press conference when there was some event, something linked in it. There's no response. Going to the Congress office is so depressing that I have stopped going because it's very depressing. It's waste of time. You don't get any story. In fact, there was once. I'll just give a small example. I was doing a story on the war rooms of political parties. I think it was in 2019 that the BJP started their war room at a war footing, really. And then I saw it and I sent a story. My newspaper asked me to find out if the other political parties also have something similar. I went to the Congress. They said, yes, yes, we have a forum. We have it. It's on the third floor. They thought I wouldn't climb all the stairs to go and look for it. I went all the way up and there was nothing. So they said, oh, so and so is in charge. He's not here. He's going to come. I waited for almost an hour. Then nothing. Nobody turned up. I went downstairs. Said, what is there? There's no forum. Then he started laughing. And he said, "Oh, आप चली गई. हमने तो सोचा था कि आप जाइएगा नहीं. We don't have anything. Everything is managed from Delhi. Whatever. So we don't have
Congress
anything."
is often at war with itself, so they don't need a war.
Yeah, it's so tragic. So, so let's come to the other thing. On the other hand, Sharat, the BJP.
Yeah.
So how are they?
Well,
doing? Yeah.
Well, before I embark on what the BJP is doing, I'd just like to add a few things to what Shahira said about Akhilesh Yadav. You know, the world of what the tragedy is, complete vacuum of leadership. And I think he has failed to learn or imbibe anything, any leadership qualities from his father. He was a grassroots man.
Yeah.
And I feel that this man, because he got everything on a platter, he has not had to work for it. Even if you get it on a platter, sometimes you make effort. I mean, for that matter, I would say the way Rahul Gandhi undertook this, both the yatras, he makes, but Akhilesh is too laid back. In fact, laid back is an understatement. And in fact, the other day I was thinking of doing a show on my YouTube program on Kab Akhilesh Niklenge Ghar Se Bahar. It was, I haven't done it. I haven't done it. But you know, this chap is surrounded by sycophants, and I think he's completely misguided by one of his uncles. He has two uncles. One is that Ram Gopal Yadav, and the other is Shivpal Yadav. It's Ram Gopal Yadav is the one who dominates. And because he's called Professor Sabad, although he was teacher in an intermediate college, but UP mein intermediate college teacher can always be called professor if you belong to a big family. So, which is what is happening. And so he's rated as the think tank, the intellectual. And mind you, he's the one who spoiled relations between Mulayam Singh and Akhilesh Yadav. He's minting his money, they say that he's the most moneyed man in that party. And for whatever his interest lies in ensuring his son's victory from Firozabad near Agra, where he's contesting. Right. And this man has never been a grassroots political leader. And they all, insiders also believe that he's completely, he controls Akhilesh Yadav, and Akhilesh Yadav sadly doesn't seem to have a mind of his own. Which is, and I fail to understand, this is the time he could have done lots. And there are people looking up to him because he is the main political leader, opposition leader. Congress is only support. Now there was so much annoyance amongst Muslims against Akhilesh Yadav. There was reason for that because Akhilesh Yadav would never rise to the occasion to when it came to issues related to oppression of Muslims, which was done blatantly here during the anti-CA movement, or even when they were targeted, bulldozers running all over the place, and this guy would not
now it's extended to covering all communities because he doesn't seem to stand up for anybody except when he tweets. You know, he never visits the spot. He never holds the family.
No. Only tweet. Only
never seen with people.
He started. I feel, Seema, that he started taking Muslims for granted.
Yeah.
He thought that where will they go? Hame ko to milega. And he almost said it in one of my interviews. He almost said it in as many words. Ki, bhai, kahan jayenge? So, when you start doing that, and that has been a major support for the rise of the Samajwadi Party.
Yeah.
And today, if Congress, if he had not, was not into alliance with the Congress, probably Akhilesh would not get 60% or 70% of the Muslim vote. Today he stands to gain out of this alliance simply because Muslims were looking for an alternative. Now Congress is in a shambles. Otherwise they would have gone en bloc to the Congress. This
you
is
think that Shahira also agree? No, I was asking Shahira also. That
I completely agree.
Muslims would have gone en bloc to the Congress.
I completely agree with analysis. Yes, yes, yes. They would have wasted their vote at
Yeah.
because of Congress being in such a position. But the anger against Samajwadi Party is not only for not taking up their causes, not even for standing up by their own leaders
Yeah.
Yeah.
who are
Azam Khan,
in
let's
trouble
for that
and
matter, we
facing a
must
lot of
mention
false
Azam
cases.
Khan. Azam Khan was behind bars for 2 years. Sorry, Shahira saying something. Yeah.
Shahira's yeah.
That is exactly what I'm saying. The same thing. Azam Khan के लिए नहीं, Irfan Solanki, all these people, petty cases. Somebody's daughter-in-law has, the case. Abhi Ikra's brother, his gangster. Why was it? Because they had pushed all the hawkers out of the city. So he staged a dharna saying that the hawkers, if they will sell vegetables out of the city, who will go to buy vegetables over there? They should be given a place inside the city. And gangster was imposed on him. Gangster was imposed on him, and he was put behind bars. So to take up any
Cycle
public
chori,
cause,
bakra chori, books chori. These are the kind of cases out of the 82 criminal cases lodged
So now,
against Azam Khan.
yeah,
And there was not
Other-
one street protest. There was not one street protest by the Samajwadi Party.
but what
and
is,
the way they made him manage the elections, the blatant, it was like
so,
if a Rampur model can be coined, the
so
way
now
they
to
managed the
move,
election.
now because of time, let's to move to the BJP. Yogi has got it all wrapped up, or are there any chinks in his armor, Sharat?
Well, very interestingly, Seema, it seems yesterday only I was discussing with some journalist only that Yogi appears to be a little withdrawn at the moment.
Okay.
For whatever the rumors are that probably he's got an inkling that he may not be allowed to continue here if Modi gets the huge numbers that he's looking up to, he's dreaming of, to become the prime minister for the third time. So, because this has been in the it's being talked about
For a long time.
yeah, for a long time, because Modi obviously doesn't like anyone who's eyeing for the top job. And not even because he thinks that he's going to be another Putin. That's what I feel. So the trouble is that Yogi, of course, he's seen in the campaigns, he goes, but his whole focus is limited to Hindutva,
Okay.
and that too largely on the Hindu-Muslim divide.
Yeah.
Because he's I mean, that's his
That's the ideology.
forte. That's his forte. That's the way he's made his way up. And that's what I've drawn out in the book that I wrote on Yogi Adityanath, which is published by Penguin. It's the title is Yogi Adityanath, Religion, Politics and Power. That's how he made his way up.
So withdrawn means he won't be working that hard for the elections, you feel, or what is
then, but he can't, he can't show that. He has to be he is on ground. He's traveling all over the place because he can't even afford to do that. But you can see that there is some, when you read between the lines, you can see that he is not in his element.
Okay.
And this is something which has been confirmed by one or two insiders also. They also feel, but nobody can. But Yogi, the problem with Yogi is he has no friends within the party also. He's not an RSS man. So he's there on his own steam with his Hindu Yuva Vahini, which of course is now dumped by him also. But among, let's say, about his cabinet, now he has no friends in the cabinet. He's very suspicious. So he doesn't get along with anyone. He's always suspecting his deputy chief ministers, his ministers. There was only one minister with whom he was very close on the Thakur net, which he's supposed to be. He's known to be a very, very pro Thakur, and that fellow was shunted out of the ministry by Amit Shah in 2022. So now, being a lone leader, how much can you do?
Okay, so
because
now,
when you don't have sorry
but
the BJP is hoping to make it largely in the name of Modi. There may be some pockets in eastern UP, particularly in this huge belt where the mandir matters a lot.
So that's what,
And
before you come to it, I'll come to it, and then you
uh,
can frame it like that.
okay,
There is the mandir, which is the BJP's, I think, main plank in UP. Maybe Shahira, you can start and we go back to Sharat on this.
sure.
And on the other side is joblessness, right? Is that
Yeah.
the main issue for the India Alliance, maybe?
I think it will, because the yesterday's.
jobless-
Are you asking me?
Shahira could start.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I think that is the narrative which should have been taken up by the opposition. There
But
is
they
not
haven't.
only joblessness, it is so many issues. Joblessness, the failure of governance on every front, the delivery of services, the leakage of exams, and health failure on the COVID front. There's so many things
But that's part of their campaign. That is
which
going to
could
be
be
part
taken
of.
up. But sadly, the opposition is yet to come. Well, it is not being articulated in as strongly as it should be, because
Okay.
in the ruling party is taking the lead. You know what Modi says in Pilibhit of how not attending the
Right.
Ram Mandir inauguration was a Ram ka अपमान, and इस तरह से ऑपोजिशन को वो करना, तो ये उसको काउंटर जो है वो रिएक्शनरी उसमें कर रहे हैं। ये नहीं कह रहे हैं इनका कि वे राम मंदिर तो एक आपकी आस्था का सवाल है, लेकिन खाना पीना ये वो इन एवरी फ्रंट which is what is happening. Even the ration which is being given is not reaching every. If it's a family of five people are not getting ration. Only two people getting ration. Three people getting ration.
Right.
So
So that's, so how much is the
the
Ram
delivery
Mandir?
and the governance.
Yeah.
The Ram Mandir will have its effect in different areas in different ways. As far as I am understanding, Western UP is not a place where it is going to matter that much. But in Eastern UP, in the central part, it may
Yeah.
dig into the consciousness and maybe matter more in terms of votes. But it would not be uniform throughout. So wherever the opposition has put its acts together, or wherever there's anti-incumbency at a scale and has been successfully
Okay.
exploited by the opposition, the Mandir movement will not make
Okay.
the kind of impact
You agree with that,
which they
Sharat?
are trying to do. And
Absolutely, Seema. Yes, what Shahira is saying is absolutely correct. That is the trouble. But there's what they need to actually, opposition needs to really pull up their socks
yeah,
because
there's hardly any
that
time
is
left.
that is the biggest tragedy of Uttar Pradesh. I don't see BJP doing well, not because it's great. It is because the opposition is weak,
By default,
and opposition is not able to
yeah, they
rise to
win
the
by
occasion.
default.
That's the whole trouble.
Interesting.
And
Yeah. So that's
more what Yogi. One more thing about Yogi that I need to I must tell you is how he has been conducting himself. You see all this loud talk on providing improving law and order. There's so much hype on that. There is so much hype on Mahila Suraksha, women's security. It is lies being bombarded on people, but there's nobody to oppose that. On facts, the NCRB, the National Crime Records Bureau, it's
Right. Which is the government's
2022
figure.
report. According to that report, if you go into the statistics which I have gone, there is during that period, UP, the rapes were recorded every 7 hours or 7.5 hours. There was a rape in UP. The only difference between Akhlesh's time and now is that in Akhlesh's days, it was 6 hours, every 6 hours. Now, and then you talk of 7 hours. I often say on television channels कि वाह क्या improvement है. 6 घंटे पहले होता था, अब 7 घंटे होता है. देश उत्तर प्रदेश बदल गया. And this lies is bombarded through Yogi's publicity machinery. You'll be shocked to hear Seema, you've been a journalist for decades and decades. You've covered so much. You can't imagine how much money is spent on this publicity at state exchequer. It works out to 3.5 crores a day,
My God.
which Yogi spends on publicity.
On
And there's
publicity.
nobody to counter that. So everybody believes what Yogi is saying, that UP's law and order is fantastic and all that. It is just unheard of. One couldn't have imagined कि इस तरह से भी हो सकेगा कभी.
Right.
So that is
And
their
not
success.
only
That
that,
is their success story of bombarding people with lies. I always call it bombarding people.
claiming that people have gone above poverty line. उसने ये भी तो कहा 7 करोड़ लोग रोज पता नहीं कितने महीनों में go above poverty line. So it's not backed
All
by any
lies.
statistic. Not backed by
Even
anything.
on the crime control, Seema, is very something important to be told to people, that even on the law and order front, there is a lot of lies. You know, their law and order, when they talk about gangsters being sent to Bhagwan, matlab encounters, most of the encounters there are 10,000 encounters were carried out in UP, out of which 5,500 people were injured below the on their feet. It's called Operation Langda. They were systematic, but and 193 people were killed in these encounters. Now, out of these, the majority happens to be Muslims and Dalits. You don't find very many except for that one isolated case of Vikas Dubey, who was gunned down in that encounter. And other than that, you don't see. And the bulk of them are Muslims. And then you say, "Wah, kya hai law and order?" And people lap it up because they seem to have this divide, seems to have paid dividends there. Now, Brij Bhushan Saran Singh is a classic example. He indulged in the worst kind of the molestation of the women wrestlers. Can you imagine? Not a word uttered by the Chief Minister or the Prime Minister.
So
he didn't go to jail for a day.
Right.
Had it been a Muslim in the place of Brij Bhushan Saran Singh, his whole Khandan would have been dead by now, and their houses would have been razed to the ground by Yogi's bulldozer. So this kind of partisan.
Why forget the Swami Chinmayanand? Dodo rape.
Chinmayanand. Oh yes.
He's
Loads of cases.
He's a free man.
So
He compelled that girl to withdraw the case of this molestation and rape, and she was compelled to withdraw in the same manner as that girl, as that young wrestler girl who was obviously compelled to withdraw the case against Brij Bhushan Saran Singh.
So we are really, from what both of you have said, on literally we can't even say the eve of the elections, because now we are in the elections. Voting is about to happen. The campaign should have begun. The candidates should be there. People should have all been out on the roads. That UP has issues, and it is a state where the opposition could have done far, far better. But because the opposition is so weak and non-existent and led by people who do not know how to lead, it is not being able to give a fight to the BJP, despite all the chinks that you have talked about in the armor of Yogi and the party, right?
Very true.
Okay. So I'm going to thank you both for this very, very interesting discussion. I've learned myself so many things from you, and thank you so much.